A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host Pratiksha Mishra and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. At the India hosted BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting held in New Delhi, India urged member nations to strengthen cooperation through practical and collective measures to address rising geopolitical tensions and disruptions in global trade and energy supply chains. The high level meeting comes at a critical time as the ongoing conflict involving the US, Israel, and Iran fuels fears of soaring oil prices, supply chain shocks, and instability along crucial maritime routes such as the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea. Here's a closer look at the key discussions and what they could mean for the region and the world.
India hosted the BRICS foreign ministers meeting in New Delhi at a time of rising global tensions, reinforcing its role as a bridge between major powers and the global south. The discussions among major emerging economies focused on peace and security, economic resilience, energy stability, and fragile global supply chains. As BRICS chair, India called for practical cooperation and collective solutions to shared global challenges. A major concern was the ongoing West Asia crisis, with tensions involving the US, Israel, and Iran raising risks for oil markets and critical sea routes like the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea. India emphasized diplomacy, dialogue, and a more balanced multipolar world order through BRICS cooperation.
Our discussions must advance sustainable development while upholding principles of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities. Technological advancements are reshaping the global landscape. It can be leveraged for good governance and inclusive growth.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met the visiting BRICS foreign minister, reaffirming India's commitment to strengthening the bloc as a platform for cooperation among emerging economies. He underscored the need for resilient supply chains, energy and food security, and reforms in global institutions to reflect today's realities. The discussions also echoed a broader call for stronger coordination and a more balanced global order. India's BRICS chairship is its most challenging yet amid global turbulence and West Asia tensions involving key member states like Iran, UAE, and Saudi Arabia.
And I'm sure this is really the most difficult chairship that India is handling today. Why? Naturally, because of the turbulence and tensions in the global affairs, and above all, given the very complex situation in the Middle East or West Asia, in particular the US and Israeli war against Iran. Now, the complexity comes because three of the members of BRICS, Iran, UAE, and Saudi Arabia, are engaged in this conflict. Two on one side, one on the other side.
The most important aspect of the foreign ministerial meeting is how to usher in peace and stability. So on this, there is no consensus as yet. They're also looking at, some members are looking at de-dollarization and local currencies exchange.
Under its 2026 chairmanship, India pushed for stronger multilateral cooperation, reforms in global governance, and collective responses to rising geopolitical and economic uncertainties. Now expanded to include members such as Iran, the UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Indonesia, BRICS represents a major voice of the global south, accounting for a significant share of global population and economic output. Amid deep global divisions, India positioned the meeting as a platform for dialogue, consensus, and cooperation.
Moving on. India and Chile have reviewed the progress of negotiations for the proposed free trade agreement and discussed ways to fast-track its conclusion. The two countries had implemented a preferential trade agreement in 2006 and are now working to expand it into a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. The proposed agreement aims to deepen economic ties by covering a wider range of sectors, including digital services, investment promotion, and bilateral cooperation. The agreement is also expected to strengthen India's access to critical minerals essential for key industries such as electronics, automobiles, and solar energy. A high-level delegation from Chile, led by Foreign Minister Francisco Perez Mekina, visited India to enhance bilateral economic and commercial engagement between the two nations. During the visit, India's Minister of Commerce and Industry, Piyush Goyal, held wide-ranging discussions with the Chilean Foreign Minister on boosting bilateral trade, increasing investment opportunities, and deepening cooperation in priority sectors. The talks primarily focused on the ongoing negotiations for a comprehensive economic partnership agreement between India and Chile.
We want to increase our trade with this country and explore opportunities for investing in Chile. We want you basically to consider Chile as an option both for imports of goods, but also a long-term relationship regarding critical minerals and other topics that are important for both countries. We're trading more than $5 billion a year, growing at more than 40% last year, so that's a good sign. But they should be stronger. I mean, the magnitude of the Indian economy and the importance of Chile in certain goods like minerals make me believe that this is just the beginning.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also met Chilean Foreign Minister Francisco Perez Mekina in New Delhi, where both leaders discussed strengthening bilateral relations, diversifying trade partnerships, and expanding cooperation in multilateral forums. The discussions highlighted opportunities to deepen collaboration in critical sectors such as mining, lithium and copper supply chains, renewable energy, agriculture, digital innovation, and advanced technologies. Both sides also explored measures to improve market access and facilitate greater participation of businesses from the two countries in each other's economies.
We live in a very fragmented world where supply chains are being questioned on multiple counts, but best way to negotiate that, best way to sustain that in the long run is to have a trustworthy, trusted and a very balanced trade partnership between the nations. India strives to achieve that with each one of its partners and will keep on working through trade agreements and even outside trade agreements with our partner countries, including Chile, to achieve that growth in a balanced fashion.
In recent years, India and Chile have expanded cooperation in sectors including pharmaceuticals, critical minerals, clean energy, infrastructure development, and digital technologies. Experts believe that stronger India-Chile economic engagement could help diversify global supply chains and improve India's access to strategic mineral resources required for emerging industries such as electric vehicles, battery manufacturing, and renewable energy systems. The proposed trade agreement is expected to create new opportunities for businesses, encourage investment partnerships, and enhance economic resilience for both countries. The engagement also aligns with India's broader strategy of deepening economic ties with Latin American nations and strengthening its presence in global trade and investment networks. Time now for Asia This Week, the stories from across the continent.
Pakistan's security situation continues to deteriorate amid a renewed surge in terrorist violence, with civilians once again paying the heaviest price. In the latest incident, a powerful explosion ripped through the crowded Naurang Bazaar in Sarai Naurang in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, killing at least 10 people and injuring dozens more. The blast triggered panic across the busy marketplace as rescue teams rushed victims to nearby hospitals. Visuals from the site showed destroyed shops, scattered debris, and damaged vehicles, highlighting the intensity of the explosion. The blast came after another major terrorist attack in neighboring Bannu district, where a suicide bomber rammed an explosive-laden vehicle into a police checkpoint before armed terrorists stormed the area and opened fire. The coordinated assault killed at least 15 police personnel and reduced the checkpoint to rubble. Political tensions intensified in Nepal's House of Representatives on Wednesday as lawmakers protested the continued absence of Prime Minister Balin Shah during discussions on the government's policy and program for the next fiscal year. Harkar Raj Rai, chairman of the Shram Sanskriti Party, walked out of the parliamentary session demanding that the Prime Minister personally appear before lawmakers to answer questions. Several lawmakers joined the protest, saying they would not participate until Shah attended the House. Ahead of the already concluded summit between US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing on May 14th and 15th, Taiwan President Lai Ching-te thanked the United States for helping strengthen Taiwan's defenses and asserted that AP would not bow to pressure from Beijing. Taiwan remained a key issue during the two-day talks as China continues to claim the self-ruled island as its own territory.
Anti-Pakistan sentiment is once again boiling over in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The Joint Awami Action Committee has announced a massive shutdown and protest movement on June 9, accusing Islamabad of betraying the people through broken promises and political suppression. From inflation and electricity shortages to demands for constitutional reforms, public frustration is rapidly intensifying across the region. Human rights activists warn that instead of addressing grievances, authorities are attempting to silence dissent, raising fears of another major confrontation between protesters and the Pakistani establishment. Take a look.
Public anger is mounting in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir after the Joint Awami Action Committee announced a territory-wide strike on June 9, accusing the Pakistani government of repeatedly betraying the people of the region. The committee has warned of massive protests, shuttered down strikes and wheel jam demonstrations if demands are not addressed by May 31. JAAC leaders say Islamabad has failed to deliver on promises related to constitutional and electoral reforms and has instead used delaying tactics to suppress the movement. However, Pakistani authorities are now trying to pressure the committee into withdrawing the protest call amid fears of a larger anti-government uprising in the region.
जॉइंट अवामी एक्शन कमेटी के रहनुमाओं के साथ जो मुजफ्फराबाद में मीटिंग हुई है वो फ्लॉप है और ये कोई पहली दफा फ्लॉप नहीं हुई। ये पिछले 2 सालों से पाकिस्तान की स्पॉन्सर्ड पीओजेके की पपेट हुकूमत जो है उसने एक ट्रक की बत्ती बनाई है और उस ट्रक की बत्ती के पीछे जॉइंट अवामी एक्शन कमेटी भागती है। ये उनको बुलाते हैं मुज़ाकरात के नाम पर, उनका टाइम वेस्ट करते हैं और जॉइंट अवामी एक्शन कमेटी की जो क़यादत है उसने भी अब ये फैसला कर लिया है कि इनफ इज इनफ और 9 जून को बहुत बड़ी जो है हड़ताल और लॉन्ग मार्च का प्लान किया जा रहा है। वो होती है या नहीं होती है ये तो वक्त ही बताएगा, लेकिन ये प्लानिंग जारी है और जगह जगह पूरे पीओजेके में अवामी एक्शन कमेटी जो है उसके जो लोग हैं वो बहुत गुस्से में हैं।
The fresh protest call comes at a time when resentment against Pakistan's administration in POJK is intensifying over rising inflation, long power cuts and lack of political representation.
बिजली की शदीद किल्लत है, लोड शेडिंग होती है बहुत ज्यादा। इसके अलावा स्कूलों की जो बच्चों की फीसें हैं वो बहुत ज्यादा हो चुकी हैं। इसके साथ साथ गैस का जो सिलेंडर है वो बहुत महंगा हो चुका है। मतलब है 2-2.5 हज़ार का सिलेंडर था, अब 6 हज़ार के करीब पहुंच गया है उसकी कीमत। इसी तरह से पेट्रोल बहुत महंगा है। इसी तरह से जो इलेक्शन आ रहे हैं जून में, उसके लिए अभी तक जो महाजरों की सीटें हैं 12, उसके ऊपर कोई फैसला नहीं हुआ क्योंकि जॉइंट अवामी एक्शन कमेटी कहती है कि ये 12 सीटें महाजरों की खत्म करें। क्योंकि पहली बात तो ये कि ये इनमें से बहुत सारे जो है वो रहते ही नहीं है पीओजेके में, वो सिर्फ इलेक्शन के लिए अपने नाम जमा कराते हैं।
Human rights activists allege that previous protest movements in POJK were met with force instead of dialogue. They claim Peaceful demonstrators faced bullets and arrests, while the Pakistani establishment continued changing political leadership without addressing core public grievances.
पीओजेके के लोगों ने 2 दफा बहुत बड़ी बड़ी जनरल स्ट्राइक्स की हैं, लेकिन सवाए गोली के उनको अभी तक कुछ नहीं मिला, सवाए लाशों के अभी तक कुछ नहीं उठाया गया। और पाकिस्तान की सरकार और पीओजेके की सरकार जो है वो अपने वजीर आजम चेंज करती रहती है और जो है टालती रहती है, लेकिन जो असल मसला है पीओजेके का उसको एड्रेस नहीं कर रही। तो मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि आने वाला वक्त जो है वो पीओजेके में भरपूर मज़ाहमत का वक्त होगा।
With growing anger on the streets and allegations of repression by the Pakistani establishment, the region appears headed towards another major showdown between protesters and the administration in the coming days.
Do you think classical dance is just a relic of the past? Think again. Today, we take you to Odisha in eastern India, where a new generation is embracing this timeless art with passion and dedication. At the heart of this revival is Padma Shri awardee Guru Aruna Mohanty, whose guidance is seamlessly blending tradition with youthful energy, keeping an ancient legacy alive on the global stage.
There's something truly special about the land of Odisha. Here, dance is not just movement, it's emotion. Odissi, one of India's oldest classical dance forms, begins with the body but speaks directly to the soul. Once carved into temple walls, it has now found its place on global stages, kept alive by those who live and breathe it with passion. At the heart of this dedication is the Odisha Dance Academy, led by the renowned Guru Aruna Mohanty. She has devoted her life to preserving, teaching, and evolving Odissi for future generations. In recognition of her immense contribution, she was honored with the Padma Shri. Under her guidance, young dancers don't just learn technique, they embrace Odissi as a journey of expression and spiritual discovery.
Odissi is a dance form which has got spiritual connotation to it. It tells you to go deeper inside to understand what you are, who you are, where you have come, how as a seeker you are seeking for the salvation. And all the dance form actually mean to say that, to self-realization.
It's often said that today's generation is drifting away from its cultural roots, but here the story is very different. The young people who come here don't just want to learn dance, they want to truly experience their culture. From school students to working professionals, people from all walks of life carve time out of their busy schedules to practice. For them, Odissi is more than just a dance, it's a living connection to their roots.
हम हिस्ट्री पढ़े हैं, एंथ्रो पढ़े हैं, साइकोलॉजी पढ़े हैं. वी गो बैक इन आवर स्क्रिप्चर्स, बहुत कुछ ऐसा मिला है जो शायद बाहर नहीं है, बाहर किसी को पता नहीं है अभी तक. एंड वही चीज़ मुझे हमेशा मेरे रूट्स को कनेक्ट करती रहती है.
मेरा ज़्यादातर टाइम इंटर्नशिप मेडिकल्स में, इंडस्ट्रीज में यहाँ जाता था. उसके बाद घर आके इतना एग्जॉस्टेड हो जाता था मैं कि हाँ प्रैक्टिस कैसे करूँ, प्रोग्राम्स कैसे जाऊँ और रिहर्सल की टाइम कैसे दूँ. बट आई मैनेज समहाउ बिकॉज आई हैड इंटरेस्ट. दिस डांस connected my soul to some kind of ultimate energy that gave me peace.
From here, these young artists are stepping on to national and international stages, making their mark with confidence. They are proving that tradition and modern life can exist in harmony. Odissi is not just surviving, it is evolving and thriving, carried forward by the energy of today's youth. Because when young people reconnect with their roots, culture does not just endure, it flourishes.
As the young hearts embrace Odissi an ancient culture finds new life. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.